Which processes should managers prioritize while automating in HubSpot to have the biggest efficiency gain?
Clean, deduplicate, and standardize your current CRM data, and then plan your mapping carefully.
What are the most critical processes CRM managers should focus to ensure that HubSpot system scales seamlessly?
Centralize communication and data, so share dashboards, centralize contacts, and log notes for visibility.
How should companies break down the migration process into a manageable phases to reduce risk?
Start with planning, where you define objectives, assemble your team, of course. With the team, you have to audit your data, create the migration plan, and select the tools to use, and then start your preparation.
What specific tools should CRM managers ensure to have a clean and reliable data during the migration to HubSpot?
For data cleanup tools, you can use Excel or Google Sheets for basic deduplication.
Today, we are excited to chat with Martijn, a true CRM expert who has experience of more than 20 years and managing more than 500 successful CRM implementation. As a founder of Sistoni and a HubSpot Diamond partner, he has helped businesses simplify migration, clean up messy data, and unlock the power of automation on HubSpot. So if you're a CRM manager, if you're managing HubSpot and looking for a practical advice, you should definitely look after this conversion and stay tuned. Great. Let's start. Hey, Martijn.
Hi, good morning.
Great. Good morning. So to start with, let's go through the first major concern of the CRM managers, right, which they normally are worried about when they are transitioning from one CRM to other, right? Managing and ensuring that how CRM migration is managed or is done in a smoother way, right? So you have already managed multiple CRM implementations, CRM migrations, right? And right now, a lot of CRM managers are struggling with minimalizing disruptions during migrations, and you managing multiple years of experience and multiple CRM implementation, right? You undoubtedly would have faced this multiple times, right? And in one of your posts, you also mentioned that how your team ensures that the HubSpot migration which your team does is seamless, right? Without any error flaws or any data concerns. So can you walk us through the practical steps that you recommend to ensure smooth migration to HubSpot?
Yeah, of course. Although it will not be a short answer because we use an 8-step approach to ensure smooth HubSpot migrations. And for us, the first step is always to define goals and objectives. So you have to clarify why you are migrating to HubSpot. So identify the specific features and functionalities you need, like CRM functions, marketing automation, sales, customer service. So it's important to set measurable goals for what you aim to achieve post-migration. And then you have to audit your existing data. So identify what needs to be migrated. Think of contacts, companies, deal records, tickets, emails, but also tasks, appointments, workflows, etc. And you have to clean that data by removing duplicates or outdated information or irrelevant records, of course. And then you have to, and that's our first step in our approach, you have to develop a migration plan. So create a detailed timeline for the migration process, including milestones and deadlines. And you have to assign roles and responsibilities to team members for each phase in the migration. And then decide whether to use HubSpot native import tools or partner with an integration specialist like us for complexer migrations. And then the fourth step is to prepare your data for migration. So export data from your current system into compatible files like CSV files or Excel files, and map data fields from your existing system to HubSpot to ensure compatibility. And of course, you have to check for any custom fields that needs to be created in HubSpot. And in HubSpot, we call those properties. And then you have to set up your HubSpot. So configure HubSpot to match your organizational needs, including your pipelines, properties like discussed before, workflows, and of course, user roles. And then the sixth step is to perform a test migration. So conduct a trial migration with a small subset of data so you can identify potential issues. Validate the test migration to ensure data accuracy and completeness. And then finally, the seventh step is to execute your full migration after the test migration was performed successfully. And then last but not least, you have to verify the migration after you have executed the full migration. So cross-check the migrated data against your source system, and you have to confirm that workflows, pipelines, reports, and integrations function as expected.
Got it. So that's a quite detailed 8-step checklist, right? Making sure that you don't miss out any of the areas which are critical to manage your migration. But one thing which I would definitely love to understand and would also help the existing CRM managers, that what's the most overlooked aspect, right? So in overall 8 steps or 8-step checklist which you mentioned, right, which is the step which is majorly ignored by most of the CRM managers?
Yeah, I think forming of a test migration, that's mostly overlooked and mostly skipped, and that's in our view the most important step of the migration. So don't speed your process. Always perform your test migration first.
Got it. So yeah, testing and validation is something which needs to be done, right? And for the CRM managers who are listening to this, they should make sure that the testing is done at par, right? You can't compromise it if you're managing the migration for yourself. The other area which normally the CRM managers are concerned about is making sure that data quality is managed, right, during the migration, right? And we know data is the key, right? You can't ignore it. And that is a recurring issue, right, which normally occurs during the migration. They have a messy data, right? If they are using CRM, they might have still a structured data, but someone who is moving to a CRM first time, right? They haven't used CRM so far, moving from Google Sheets, let's say multiple data warehouse platforms, right, and moving them into HubSpot, right? They would have a unstructured, messy, unreliable data, right? And you have also mentioned in one of your blog posts somewhere that how critical it is to clean data for a successful CRM system or platform. So based on your experience, right, what specific processes or tools should CRM managers ensure to have a clean and reliable data during the migration to HubSpot?
Yeah, let me talk you through the tools we use most often. And for data cleanup tools, you can use Excel or Google Sheets for basic deduplication and formatting and validations. Or you can use data management platforms like OpenRefine or Data Ladder. We use those for more advanced cleaning of data. Or you can use CRM-specific tools like the built-in deduplication tools that HubSpot offers. Or you can use third-party tools like InCycle, for instance.
Yeah.
And for migration tools, you can, of course, use HubSpot import tool for native CSV import functionality. But most often we use that for the more simple migrations. And when they become more complex, we use third-party migration tools like Import2, TrueJ, or Zapier, which then are used for more complex migrations. And sometimes we also use data validation tools like Never Bounce or Zero Bounce to validate email addresses, or phone number validation tools like Twilio Lookup.
Got it. So yeah, so there are a set of tools which are more around deduplication, right? Removing deduplication. There are tools around making sure that you have a valid email address, valid phone numbers, right? So these are the tools which would help the CRM managers to make sure that they clean up and make sure that data is reliable. Great insight. Moving forward, we also heard that HubSpot, right, or HubSpot as a CRM, or CRM is all about automation, right? Automation is the key process for CRM, right? So, and we know automation is a game changer, right, in CRM. So it's important to make sure that your processes are automated as much as possible, giving the benefit to all the CRM users. And Martin, you have helped organizations implement HubSpot automation for over more than a decade, right? If I'm not wrong, right? And which processes should managers prioritize while automating in HubSpot to have the biggest efficiency gain?
Yeah, first of all, audit your data. So clean, deduplicate, and standardize your current CRM data, and then plan your mapping carefully. So document your field mappings, address data types, and plan your custom properties. Then we talked about that. Test your migration. So perform a pilot migration with sample data to validate mappings and formatting. And it's always so important to use reliable tools like HubSpot import tools or your third-party solutions. Or you can also create the custom scripts for the more complexer needs. And another important thing I like to mention is to maintain your data relationships. And what I mean with that is you have to use unique identifiers to preserve links between your data entities like contacts, companies, deals, notes, and emails, etc. And last but not least, collaborate. Involve key stakeholders to validate priorities and requirements. That's very, very much important.
Got it. So collaboration, right? The area which you mentioned is a key, right? Making sure that you have good collaboration among the stakeholders and team members. So while you were managing, or while your team was managing the HubSpot migration, right? Or for CRM managers, how they can overcome cross-team communication? Because we have seen many times that a lack of communication across teams can derail even the best CRM systems and migration, right? So, what actionable steps you would recommend to CRM managers to take to foster better collaboration using HubSpot among multiple stakeholders, right? Whether it's sales, marketing, the operations, right? What should be the best way for them to have a better collaboration?
Communicate, communicate, communicate. That's it's quite simple, but that is the best answer I can give you.
Yeah, great. So it's about making sure that you keep that transparency, making sure that you keep everyone aware of the progress, keep involved everyone during your communication and planning and strategizing.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, of course, and then set goals. Define essential customer insights to retain based on the team needs. So yeah, you have to collaborate with the stakeholders. So involve sales, involve marketing, and support teams to identify the essential data for their workflows. And then again, audit your data. So categorize data as essential, useful, or redundant based on properties like the creation date of a record, or the last modified date, or the number of interactions in the last 12 months, those kind of things.
Got it. So yeah, that's more about having the collaboration or involvement of all the stakeholders at all the 8 pointers you mentioned, right? At each and every
Yeah.
step, making sure that they are involved. And it's not about just informing, but also consulting them if there's anything they want to add up, right, during that complete process. Well, another area which I would love to talk about is making sure that how to scale CRM systems, right, for growth. Because when someone is using or moving to a new CRM, right, their objective is to make sure that they aim and go for that growth, right, which everyone needs, right. And scalability is a major part, right, because you started migrating your HubSpot CRM, you're planning to use it, but then let's say there are multiple users, there are multiple aspects to it. So how or what are the most critical features or processes CRM managers should focus to ensure that HubSpot system scales seamlessly, right, with their business growth? Because they might be having a team of, let's say, 4 or 5 salespeople, 2 or 3 marketers, but as and when their business grows, they will have more salespeople, they will have more marketers, they will have more channels to use, right? So how they will, or what are the most critical features or processes you recommend for them to scale the HubSpot system?
There are quite a few steps I can think of, but
Yeah.
just let me share a few. First of all, centralize communication and data. So share dashboards, centralize contacts, and log notes for visibility.
Mhm.
But also align goals, set shared objectives, define lead qualification, and establish SLAs for handoff, for example. But also improve task management, assign tasks, set due dates, and use task queues, for instance. Leverage HubSpot tools, that's important. So share email templates, integrate meeting links, and use collaborative workflows. Also integrate external tools, connect HubSpot with Slack, Google Workspace, or Teams, so tools that your teams are used to work with, so you can improve seamless communication with HubSpot.
Yeah.
And of course, standardize your processes. So use sales templates, create sales playbooks, train your teams, and maintain a shared knowledge base for knowledge sharing. And on the organizational side, I can think of, again, collaboration. So review collaboration regularly, hold alignment meetings, collect feedback from your teams, and optimize your workflows. But also promote ownership and teamwork. So appoint CRM champions, involve all teams in campaigns, and celebrate shared successes.
Got it. So you're definitely pointed out a good option or a good point around CRM champion, because many of the organizations miss out this area, right? Having CRM champions would definitely help them to keep a constant watch and also have someone whom they can reach out, right, if they're stuck anywhere, be it marketing, sales, or operational team. So having someone as a central point of contact, a CRM champion, definitely is going to ease out the game. We discussed about data, right? Data is an important aspect, and CRM managers needs to make sure that data identification, deduplication, making sure that valid data has been migrated through multiple tools for email verification and phone number verification, which you mentioned in your conversion. Would also love to move forward if there are scenarios. Let's say CRM managers would find some irrelevant data, right? So as a CRM expert, how do you identify and remove unnecessary data during a migration, and while still making sure that valuable customer insights are not manipulated?
First of all, you have to set goals. So define essential customer insights to retain, so to keep based on the needs of your teams. And therefore, you have to collaborate with your stakeholders. So you have to involve sales, marketing, and your support teams to identify essential data for the workflows. And then you can audit your data. So categorize the data as essential, useful, or redundant based on properties like the create date, last modified date, number of interactions in the last 12 months, etc.
Yep, definitely. So it's more about, again, involvement and collaboration with multiple teams, right? Making sure that they have their inputs and what data is necessary, what data is not, right?
Yeah.
Getting that buy-in from all the stakeholders. Perfect. One last thing, right, which we have seen as a common pitfall or a challenge is CRM managers are in rush, are in hurry to migrate everything at once, right? Because they might be having tight deadline, right? Let's say the previous CRM is getting, the subscription is getting expired in next 30, 45 days. Want to migrate everything to HubSpot before the CRM subscription ends, the previous CRM subscription ends. And this is the major concern where they want to migrate everything at once, looking at the tight timeline. So how should companies break down the migration process into a manageable phases to reduce risk? Because when you try to migrate everything at once, that's always going to be challenging.
Yeah, I think it's quite simple to manage. Always start with planning, where you define objectives, assemble your team, of course. With the team, you have to audit your data, create the migration plan, and select the tools to use. And then start your preparation. So clean your data, map your fields, configure HubSpot, and back up your source data. And then the testing starts, perform the trial migration, validate data accuracy, and resolve your errors during the testing phase. And after the successful testing, the final migration can start. And the final step is the validation step. So cross-check your data after migrating, test the functionality. And it's very important to gather user feedback.
Got it. So it's more around making sure that you divide each and every steps into smaller phases, migrate them, test it out, and then move to the next steps, and not to be in rush, right? Because that is always, if you are in rush, there is always going to be challenging things to create a situation where you might not be able to do a proper migration. Great. Yeah. So that's what we had with Martin. And Martin, thanks for giving us a detailed overview on multiple areas, starting from a smooth CRM migration, right? How to manage the data quality, how to collaborate with multiple stakeholders, making sure that you don't migrate everything at once, managing the automation, right? Utilizing the automation and processes, also looking into making sure that when the businesses are at scale, right, are at growth, how to make sure that you use the HubSpot system or implement the HubSpot system in a better way, that it scales with the business. So thanks for walking us through the details, Martin, and we really appreciate your time and the knowledge.
You're welcome, Chintan.
Perfect. Thank you.